Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eternal Midnight. And we are here at the finale of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I'm here with Chad and Erica. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Hey guys, hope you're having a good day.
All right. So, Return of the King is the final chapter in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and the last one from the last we'll see of Middle Earth for a while. So, let's getting right into it, guys. What are your first thoughts on Lord of the Rings: Return of the King? Chad.
Oh, geez. This was wow. I remember seeing this in theaters on opening night, and I mean, it was just ape shit, man. It was like people were just going like crazy over this thing because I mean, it was so cool that these came out once a year. So it was like you had to wait a little while to see it, but you didn't have to wait like like 3 or 4 years in between everything. It was just like, but you see one at Christmas. All you gotta do is wait one more year and you get to see it again. And this was just, I mean, this was huge. I remember like everyone was talking about seeing this one, and definitely out of all three, this one is like the biggest. And when it comes to a finale. I mean, it's another one of those like near perfect finales of a story that wrapped everything up extremely well. And this is one where, like we've said, I like Two Towers is my favorite of the three. But this isn't even like a situation where I can look at somebody and try and even argue them down why this one isn't the best. I mean, it's the biggest, and it probably is the best. So it's like for everyone who says, oh, Return of the King, like, I mean, you made a joke about it. You're like, oh, cliche, Return of the King is my favorite. Yeah, but I mean, it's almost everyone's favorite. So it makes sense why it'd be your favorite.
Yeah, because Return of the King to me is like, I always love a good finale. Endgame, DH Part 2. So this really is, to me, like, this is another one of those where it is amazing. And I did like how it all came together and how it all made sense. I mean, I want to also hear from a first time viewer. So, Erica, you watching Return of the King for the first time, how was it? Did you like it?
Oh my god, I loved it so much. Like the extended edition is like I think 4 hours and 15 minutes, which is basically the size of like two average films. um it was so good. Oh, I loved it so much. I loved each story we were following. I loved the battle scenes. I felt like I don't know why, but with this one I felt like there was so much more character depth happening.
Yeah,
And I I'm just gonna say it. I love Eowyn so much.
yeah.
I want
Me
to
too.
ramp up when we get to that moment right there of just when I saw her, I was just like, oh my god, proud feminist moment, awesomeness. But this I had every single emotion you can think of while watching this movie. I mean, I teared up a little bit at the end. I I was like scared. I was excited. It had everything that you would want from a finale, and I think they ended it on like an awesome note. And it was wonderful.
That's very much perfect. So I'm glad that you chose to see it that way, and yeah, it is really also a very good, amazing finale. So Return of the King basically in this 4 hour and 30 minute movie, it's really divided only into two parts because Merry and Pippin and the ants are not any in this. They synced up with Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli and Gandalf. They're already with them. So it's really just Frodo, Sam, and Gollum on the way to get to destroy the ring, and Aragorn and company fighting the orcs on the other side of it. So let's focus. Let's jump in on first. Basically the heart of this movie: Frodo, Sam, Gollum, and their quest to destroy the ring. I love the opening scene of Return of the King personally, where get to see the past of Gollum. That was kind of fucked up. I mean, like,
Yeah. At first, when I saw that, I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Did I?" Because I have them like I downloaded them and saved them to my computer. At first, I thought like maybe I titled it wrong when I saved it, and it was one of the Hobbit movies. But and then I sort of put it together there. But that was really cool. Like I'm glad that they put that in. I think it was smart to put it in at the beginning, and it was interesting to see that.
yeah, kind of feel bad for the guy. I mean, like again, like, Gollum is basically the Snape of this trilogy, where you feel bad for him, but you also feel like iffy with him. You're divided on him, like, and he's just kind of a sad character, really, because he really has like something going fucked up with his head. So you can't really fault him for that. But at the same time, he's done like some horrible shit, which we'll get to later. How about you, Chad? Thoughts on the opening scene, like Gollum and all that?
It was another one of those scenes that it just truly showed the power of the ring and how it. I don't even know how Frodo's made it as far as he did without. I mean, so far everyone else who's come in contact with it has basically fallen under its spell. I mean, all the way from Isildur all the way up to even Bilbo, in a sense, when Gandalf was trying to persuade him to get rid of the ring. And so it just truly showed the power of the ring and how this thing, though it's an inanimate object, really is like the centerfold of this entire story, and how, like we said, it's got a mind of its own, and it's able to basically control, possess anyone that it comes in contact with, who almost seems like they are weak-minded, if that makes sense, kind of.
Yeah,
Because I don't know how, again, I don't know how Frodo's made it as long as he has without truly getting to that point, short of the very end of the movie.
yeah, because Frodo has Sam, and Sam is the moral ground in this entire like trilogy.
Yeah.
Like this is where, to me, Samwise Gamgee actually shines. He
Yes.
shines.
Oh my God. When Frodo was like all but dead, and Sam just kind of like threw him over his shoulder and was like, "I'm gonna carry you." I was just like, that is true friendship right there. Their friendship is honestly, I think, my favorite part of this whole series. That
Yeah,
was amazing.
yeah, but before we even get to that, there's
Yeah.
like an entire like chunk of the movie where we haven't
Yeah,
even gone
for
into.
sure. Yeah.
So basically, Gollum has switched allegiances, as we know,
Yeah.
and well, he lures Frodo into this cave. Well, first he tricks Frodo into thinking Sam destroyed the bread or threw the bread
Yeah.
away or ate the bread, which is dumb because really, like, this is kind of where I hated Frodo for a bit, because like, dude, you're trusting this guy over your long loyal friend who's been with you. It's like, damn, really?
But he's also like possessed or fucked up because of the ring.
Yeah, fair, but like, come on, dude. Like, I really just felt like you are making like the worst mistake of your life by
Mm-hmm.
letting
Yeah.
Gollum
Yeah.
feed you when this guy is clearly not to be trusted. Like, the whole reason why like in Two Towers, it establishes that Gollum and Sam, like, Gollum's like constantly trying to trick Frodo, but Sam is there to be like, hey, no, don't do that. Yeah, like, you're not supposed to fucking do that. Like, but then it's like, now there's no more Sam, so like Gollum's free to let Frodo lead him wherever he wants, and shit, he leads him to like one of the scariest, personally my scariest part.
Oh.
Gollum leads Frodo into this cave where there's this giant ass spider, like,
Ugh.
right there, and that is like one of the scariest things I've seen. Like, I thought Aragog from Chamber of Secrets was scary. Now this is worse. It's like this is like this has a stinger, and it's just like fucked up, and damn.
Do you
It's
know?
stealthy, and it was genius the way Gollum did it too, slowly leading him in and then just straight up abandoning him like that, because he knew exactly what he was leading him into.
Yeah, totally. And I wonder, do you guys know if that spider was like a animatronics or special effects?
I'm sure it was like half and half, because there were some parts where it's like, oh, I can see it's like animatronic, but then like that stuff where like the spiders climbing the wall and then like
Yeah, yeah.
looking for, like, they can never do it with an animatronic. That's pretty much a special effect. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
it's not
That
bad at
that
all.
that freaked me out. And then when Frodo gets like, I almost want to say it's like he gets mummified or something. That was
That was like,
super freaky as well. That whole scene was like, it was really, the way they did it was really well done, in that it looked really cool, and it also left you feeling like really scared and feeling really bad for Frodo.
Yeah, and then like there's an awesome part where like Frodo's are like already wrapped in the cocoon of like the web, and then Sam's like there with the light of Galadriel, and he's like, "Put him down, you won't touch him again." Like shit, dude. Like
Yeah.
Sam is a complete badass. That's why I always say when people ask me who do you prefer, Frodo or Sam, I say Samwise Gamgee all the way. But I'm sorry, Frodo, you're not as cool as Sam. You're not as badass as him because Sam fought a fucking spider, and then won. And then when he was captured by the orcs, when Frodo was captured by the orcs, Led went to the tower and started like killing all the orcs there to get
Oh yeah. That
Frodo.
was amazing.
Samwise Gamgee, dude, you're a fucking badass.
Sam was Sam was incredible in this. I think he's my favorite character officially. He was fighting so hard for Frodo because he knew that he had to be there. He had to be there for Frodo. He wasn't going to abandon Frodo. He was going to keep fighting and keep going. And his his care and how much he loved Frodo was what pushed him to keep on fighting. And their friendship in this one, it really reminded me a lot of Ron and Harry.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. I mean, like, Chad, thoughts on this entire like Samwise's loyalty with the spider and the orcs and all that.
It just shows the massive like strength of the character. He never once gave up. I mean, even climbing back down the mountain, even if he hadn't found those crumbs of lambis bread, he was going to turn around. He wasn't going to go all the way back. It was obvious. He was just doing it out of almost like depression at that point of just like I can't believe it. But it's like even if he'd gotten all the way to the bottom, that's when he would have started to make his way back up to the top. He was just lucky he found the bread because it's like he wasn't going to give up. I mean, everything he'd already gone through where he was like, I'm never going to stop. I'm not going to stop. That wasn't going to be his breaking point.
It
And then just, yeah, fighting all the way through. I mean, fighting your way through a castle full of orcs on your own. Again, it's more just character development, showing how far he's come. Of just this coward who's too afraid to ask a girl to dance, to now taking on a tower of orcs. It
Yeah,
just keeps showing how like every movie just keeps pushing all of these characters further and further into becoming heroes as opposed to just the simple hobbit farmers that they started out as.
exactly. Like there's such an arc for Sam here. Like he's a lot more courageous now, a lot more stronger, and I did love that. And yeah, we eventually like Frodo gets out. He gets Frodo out of the orc tower. But like Frodo, like he's already the ring plus the spider venom from the spider really has weighed him down, and that's what Erica like leads to like, oh yeah, I'm you can't go up this mountain, so I cannot take this burden from you, but I can carry you. And then like he takes Sam, he takes Frodo like a sack of potatoes and like brings him up the mountain, and like damn, that like Eric said, that
that
is the true friendship.
that scene made me tear up a little bit.
That is
Of
scary
like
friendship.
happiness of
Man.
like loyalty is like that is loyalty there. Of just like you've given up, but I'm not letting you give up, so I'm gonna carry you. You know?
Yeah. And while that's happening, so like they're already going up the mountain. While that's happening, we're gonna like shift all the way going back all the way on the other side of Mordor to Aragorn and company. And Aragorn and company, like again, personally, while I love the Frodo and Sam arc really a lot, I really do like what's happening here better because
Mm-hmm.
right now they're basically trying to get all the kingdom of men to rally. So like Gandalf sees in a vision that Sauron will attack Minas Tirith. So he rides there to warn the steward of Gondor, the biggest dick in the entire movie, Denethor,
Oh,
which is basically Boromir and Faramir's father, and he is just like a complete asshole.
my note for him is literally like Denethor being like a stupid drama queen dickhead. That's
Yeah,
literally what I wrote. That's the note when I was watching it. I hate him. I hate him. I was like, are you stupid? Like, how does this guy end up being king if he's that stupid?
He's not the king. He's the steward. There is no king.
Oh,
Aragorn's the king.
Aragorn's the king. There's no king of Gondor because
okay. Thank
he's
God.
he's the guy to rule until the king comes back. But the king hasn't come back for a while. Hence the movie being
Prime
called
Minister.
Return of the King because Aragorn's
Yeah.
this is Aragorn's movie. So like
Yeah.
basically before we get into like the whole Gondor stuff, there's a deleted scene that I wanted to talk about, which is Saruman's death, which was not shown in theaters. I mean, like, Chad, you saw the King in theaters.
It pissed me off that they left it out of the theatrical cut because the first time I saw it, I was like, that was... Okay, first off, I'm sorry. It was funny as hell to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's like something out of Looney Tunes. But it's like, it was needed because in the theatrical cut, they were just like, Saruman has no power. And they just moved on. It's like, what? So he just stays in his tower forever now? And that's it?
Yeah.
The way that he died was also kind of just, I don't know, I felt like it was too easy.
Yeah, no, because like Saruman literally had no power. I mean, like he was the most powerful wizard until Gandalf came along and says, "I am what Saruman should be in the Two Towers." So basically, Gandalf confronts Saruman. And like, Saruman, your staff is broken. The staff breaks. Wormtongue essentially kills Saruman. Stabs him. He falls down, and that's it. That's the end of Saruman. Which is a fitting end. It's better than just like, yeah, just leave him in the tower. He has no more power. It's like, what happens to him? Does he like he answer for his? When I legit watched it for the first time, what happens to him? Does he answer for his crimes against Middle Earth or no?
Mm-hmm.
Does he like become like? Does he drink in his tower the whole time, like reminiscing his loss? Like really? And then like eventually we do find out like, oh shit, okay, he died, which is perfect because I wanted him to die anyway. It was a dick. So yeah, like so, Chad, like were you were confused, right, when you saw that in theatrical cut? Like, oh, yeah.
I wasn't confused. I was just kind of like, I mean, even the theatrical cut's already so long that it was like when the movie started, it was right there. But then by the time the movie's over, like you just kind of forget about him, and it's like the ring's gone, Sauron's finished, the orcs are gone, Mordor's destroyed. And so it's just almost like you just kind of forgot about him. I mean, if you were sitting there wondering, go read the books, maybe. But to me, I don't know. But I didn't really think about it until I saw the extended cut because, like I said, it happens so early on and so much happens, you just forget about it.
Yeah, true. In this like 3 hour movie, it's like it's hard to keep everything on track. I'm pretty sure I missed a couple of things already.
That's why we rewatch them as often as we do, even though there's still takes like
and
a week to watch all of them.
I would have been so confused if they not confused, more just like what happened. It's like how did he die? Did he like what? I mean I wouldn't be confused, more just like I'd feel like that would have been a plot hole if I watched, like if I'd seen that before, because I watched the extended cut for the first time. So
yeah, and then it's also like so okay, so going back to Aragorn's plot. So Gandalf warns the Steward of Gondor to hey, orcs are moving onto Minas Tirith. Prepare. We'll help you out. Please prepare. And then like the Denethor's like, I don't give a shit. I just want to eat. And like,
because what it is this character has he's proven that the man is a coward. That much is completely obvious. But he's broken and bitter because his position as steward was not to, yes, he was there to take over if the king wasn't there, but it's obvious he just wanted the title of steward as opposed to ever wanting to be in charge. And just basically being in his position where it's been nothing but war for so long that he's a broken human being who clearly should not be in power because he's making irrational choices. Like that. They like at one point what is it? The docks, the wharf or whatever was lost, and everyone who was able to fled back. And he's so deluded and broken that he basically emotionally fucks with his only living son and is like, Boromir would go take back the war for whatever, right to Faramir's face. So Faramir is like, fine. And even Gandalf is like, Faramir, you know this is suicide. Don't do it. But this poor man, also a product of nothing but war for his entire life, is just like, I need to do this to prove I can live up to my brother's name, and leads what's left to try and take back the wharf. And he's the only one who escapes with his life, barely. And his father at this point, like I said, just beyond being messed up because of his whole life being in war, being in a position he doesn't want to be in, and his favorite son getting killed and being stuck with his second favorite, who's clearly not, he does not like Faramir anywhere near as much as Boromir. He just mentally like snaps and is just like, he's dead and nothing can convince me otherwise, until that last possible second when he sees Faramir is still alive and Gandalf and Pippin have been there to save him. And I mean, honestly, I think it's one of my favorite shots also, and especially of Gandalf doing the voiceover of Denethor on fire, running down like the runway on top of the tower and just dives off. And it's just, I don't know, that scene was just, it's like, you don't like the character. You're not supposed to. They couldn't make it any more obvious. But it's at the same time, it's just like you almost wonder, what could this character have been like had he not been in a war for as long as he'd been in and been as messed up as he was.
Exactly.
First of all, I hated the way that he treated Faramir. And when I was watching that part of the plot, I was kind of like, I was thinking, maybe towards the end he'll get some kind of wake up call and be like, oh my God, what have I done? Or something like that.
That doesn't happen.
But no, it didn't. So when he like, I felt bad for him. I mean, it wasn't, I ended up feeling like, I thought that I'd be like happy that he died, but it was more just like, I felt bad that he like got to a point of just like, I give up, but there's one scene that just kind of, I can't remember exactly what was happening, but he was being some kind of drama queen, and then Gandalf just kind of bonked him with his staff.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh.
But it's not supposed to be a dick to your son. And that scene killed me. Where like Faramir is running to take back that city, and then like Pippin, was it Mary Pippin? I can't remember.
It was Pippin.
Yeah, Pippin's. Yeah, there you go. Pippin singing the song, and like
that. By the way, that was a beautiful song that he sang.
Yeah.
These movies have so many good songs in them. The best one is still "Song of the Lonely Mountain" from the first Hobbit, though. That is the best song out of all 6 movies.
Yeah, same. I agree with there. But like while Pippin's singing the song, like, and Denethor's like eating like a fucking slob, like just eating, and like, I don't really give a shit about what's going on.
It's because you could tell in his face and the way the character was, he was at the point where he knew what he did was wrong. He knew he'd sent Faramir to his death. But again, because this character is fundamentally broken at this point, he has too much pride to admit that he knew it was a lost cause. He knew he sent Faramir to his death. But his pride is not allowing him to admit any of this. And that's why even with the beautiful song that Pippin is singing, he's still just sitting there acting like a complete slob and just trying to be like, it's almost one of those things where he's like, if I ignore it, it'll go away type things. Yeah. Like that's the whole thing that I got from that every scene with him in this movie is, if I ignore it, it'll go away.
Yeah, exactly. He was just like, he was basically trying to eat to forget, forget what he did to like Faramir and all that. Which is and basically Faramir does survive, and he'll make it at the very end. But like when I was watching it the first time, I thought he was fucked. I was like, oh, he's screwed. He's gonna die.
I thought he was dead.
Yeah, and then like basically, okay, so Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli meet up with Elrond, and they forge the Sword of the King. So the Sword of the King is now reforged, and now they're gonna go to the dark place of Middle Earth to get the ghosts, and we'll talk about it later. I know, Chad, you hate the ghosts.
I never said I hate the ghosts.
You don't like them.
I want to read. I need to read the book to see if they did something different with it, because my issue with the ghosts in this movie was it's the same thing everyone always asks. Why didn't they just send them into Mordor to wipe them all out? Why they just showed up and completely turned the tide of war? It visually it looked cool. It is what it is, but it just felt like that's why the battle in the second one to me is so much better because even though, yes, the Riders of Rohan showed up to turn the tide of that battle, there were still probably men who rode down that mountain who might have lost their lives before Helm's Deep was done in that second wave. With the ghosts, it was just ride over everything, boom, win.
Yeah, exactly. But like, okay, so let's talk about the Battle of Minas Tirith. So this is like the second major battle in this movie until the battle at the Black Gate of Mordor. So let's get in here first. So basically, because Denethor is a dick, he won't ask for help, and I love the fact that Rohan answers, even though
when they lit the towers.
Yeah, I love the fact that
the
Rohan
beacons.
answers. Yeah, but Rohan answers even though because remember Theoden said into two towers, where was Gondor when the West fell? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Where were so they're now being the bigger kingdom and saying like we're gonna help even though you didn't help us.
Yeah.
And in speech with like all the writers like, hey, we're gonna die. Basically saying we're gonna die today and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, Theoden again. I love him. He's
All right. Yeah. So,
he did so many awesome speeches and just like I love him. He's such a great character.
Yeah. So there's this battle that comes along and like Theoden's like, all right, I'm hitting all the spears with my sword and like we're just rallying and they attack and it's one of the most interesting battles before the ghosts come and like wipe it all out. And, like, all right, we're gonna get to that later, but like so this battle's coming to a head and they're all fighting and basically starting a masses of force to take out Minas Tirith and basically try to rule the world of men in advance. But like Gandalf's are like this is sort of badass moments. Like I'm trying to actually formulate how I want to do this. So like before we get to Eowyn, because that's already here. Gandalf first. Gandalf is like a badass white wizard in this.
Gandalf had to take charge. I mean, he basically pushed Denethor to the side and he took control of the army of Gondor.
Yeah, Gandalf's a freaking badass, and then like I love that scene like where he's even surprised about like the amount of forces coming his way. Like he says, "All right, you are men of Gondor. Whatever happens, whatever comes to that door, you will hold it and you will win." And then when like 3 armored trolls come in, like oh shit, that's a lot. And like he didn't even expect that coming. So like even like when wise old Gandalf is like fucking surprised about like what's coming his way, like you knew you're in for the ride of your life and you just have to fight to survive.
Yeah.
And basically it's like they're all fighting and before the ghosts arrive or Eowyn has her badass moment where the Witch King of Angmar descends and tries to kill Theoden and Erica.
Sorry. Oh my god, I love Eowyn in this entire movie. First of all, she sneaks into the battle, and she takes was it Merry or Pippin?
No, Pippin was already with the Denethor, so it was Merry.
Okay, so she took Merry with her, and she snuck into battle, and she was like freaking amazing in battle, and she goes and she protects. It was a ring wraith, right?
It was the Witch King of Angmar, yeah.
Yeah, so he takes out Theoden, and so she comes in and she's like fighting, and then there's this moment that said, I can't remember exactly what he said. It was something about, what was the line that he said to her?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Man.
The Witch King of Angmar says, no man can kill me, you foolish one. That's like that.
She takes off her mask and she says, I am no man, and then she kills him. And oh my god, that moment was freaking amazing. Like I could just rewatch that scene over and over again. And I haven't read the books, but I really hope that line is in the books, because these books were written in like the 50s, so things like that weren't common And so I loved that scene so much. And then the scene following with Theoden's death, it was
That was
just beautiful. It beautiful in that like it was so sad, but it was so well done that it just like you wanted to just take it and hug it. And the fact that Theoden like saw her as like it wasn't like he was so proud of her. You know what I mean? Like he just seemed like he was so proud of her and the way that she came and fought, and it was amazing. And then also there was a scene where like I think it was Mary that came and helped.
yeah.
Oh,
Mary stabbed the Witch King of Angmar.
Yeah,
Mary stabbed the Witch King of Angmar first as a
yeah.
distraction for Eowyn to come in with the killing stroke.
He also takes out like 6 orcs.
Yeah,
On
that's the character development of Mary.
all of the hobbits in this are so amazing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
amazing.
I mean, like that's the character development of Mary, where he, as Chad mentioned from the Two Towers review, he goes from stealing food from Fellowship of the Ring to becoming a badass and taking out and stabbing the Witch King of Angmar in the back so that Eowyn can come for the killing stroke. And it's really funny because like I was rewatching the clip of Eowyn killing the Witch King Angmar on YouTube, and I saw this comment which made me like laugh my ass off. The guy said, "Go suck it, Ray Skywalker." Like, yeah,
Yes. Oh
yeah,
my god, yes. Yes.
that's how you do it. Like, holy
That
shit.
is how you do it. That is how you do it.
Uh,
Yeah, that was incredible. I'm so like that was literally my favorite like scene I think in this movie. Just you guys probably saw that coming, right?
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Matt, what did you think of the entire Eowyn?
I mean, it was just getting around the spell that was placed on the Witch King that a man couldn't beat her because back then women didn't go to battle. So
Yeah,
yeah, it was just a loophole in the curse, basically.
you should have read the fine print.
That's all it was.
That's one of the comments I saw. Like, yeah, the Witch King Angmar should have read the fine print when the spell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Should have established them better when the rules were being made or whatever.
Yeah. All right. So Aragorn comes along with his sword, his new sword of the king, and takes out all the ghosts. Yes, I will admit that was a bit of a Deus Ex Machina, where like, oh, okay, yeah. Out of
confusing.
these ghosts come around and destroy. And I think the creative choice there, like Peter Jackson did make the creative choice where, yeah, I don't want the ghosts to be there on the final battle itself because they're basically gonna win. So the ghosts just basically disappear after the Gondor battle of the Battle of Minas Tirith.
We'd honestly need someone like Logan to be on here with us to fully explain it.
Yeah, because like or Dylan, because like I have no.
Yeah, someone who like read the books and like knows all the lore.
Yeah, because I have for the life of me, I have no idea why they didn't just use the ghosts for the final battle.
The thing with the ghosts that I don't really like is it's like they're doing it because like Aragorn is the king, and they're like reluctantly doing it.
Yeah.
Which, like I didn't really like that much because they're more just there because they have to be there, and
That was the point. They swore an oath that they would do it, so they had to do it.
I know, but
curses and magic and all whatnot.
yeah, I just didn't like that they were like reluctantly there, you know.
Well, again, they were deserters. That's what Legolas said, right? They were deserters. King. So basically, you die without honor. So you live forever in pain unless the king absolves you of basically your sin. And Aragorn, being the king, said, "Yeah, you can go." And they did fulfill the deal. The ghosts were the reason why they won. If Aragorn didn't show up, probably they wouldn't win, or maybe they would, but we'll never know because the ghosts didn't show up. And so basically, Minas Tirith is won by the ghosts, and again, that is a Deus Ex Machina, and I cannot, for the life of me, know if that was actually included in the books. I will again have to read it, and I will see by comparison like what is the what is the truth when it comes to the books, and I will just have to check it out. But overall, I think it was executed fine. I guess it just had again. There's just the loophole of like why couldn't Aragorn say, okay, you did good in this battle, like one more battle and then you're done. But now he releases them like right after, which is such a weird plot hole. But okay,
It's the exact same thing I think as the Eagles. You know, like why didn't the Eagles
Yeah.
just fly them to Mordor or something? That's another thing I think. Again,
Yeah.
someone like Logan could answer, who knows the books and the lore backwards and forwards.
Exactly. I heard from Dylan though that the in the books the ghosts are explained like why they can only do one battle, but like the Eagles have no explanation whatsoever. So yeah.
Maybe they don't want to do a suicide fly into Mordor. I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't know either. So okay, it's basically Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, and Gandalf say like we have no idea where Frodo is right now. We have no fucking clue. We have no cell phones, no way to reach him. So basically, this is what I love about the movie. Faith, but maybe that Frodo is alive and he and Sam will get to Mordor. And basically, the whole plan is we rally up our forces, and this is what really like this is why I love the final battle. We rally up our forces. We keep the eye fixed on us, so that the eye of Sauron is fixed on us, so that Frodo has the chance to go into Mount Doom and drop the ring into the volcano. That's basically the essence of the final battle, which I love because like oh holy shit, they're basically gonna do like a self-sacrifice and make sure Frodo gets to the ring or gets to the volcano and throw the ring in the fire. So like they're basically counting on Frodo because they have no way to reach him. They have no way to talk to him. Like they're basically counting on Frodo to win. So Frodo is there. So Frodo's at the mountain and Aragorn's at the Black Gates. And this is another deleted scene where I really wish it wasn't cut, because in the theatrical cut, there's no mouth of Sauron. In the extended cut, the mouth of Sauron is there, and then like the mouth of Sauron like throws the mithril vest to Gandalf and says, "Oh yeah, your Hobbit friend, he died horribly. His other friend too." So basically, the Sauron and his forces are calling their bluff to see if they're actually like stand down. But and then like there's this entire like legion of orcs ready to kill them, and then Sauron basically is like the devil saying, "Hey, Aragorn, like, you can hear." I know that scene where Aragorn is like you can hear the whispers of Sauron, like, "Hey, it's okay, just surrender and I'll let you live and just bow to me." But Aragorn, I love that scene. This is where Aragorn is my favorite because Aragorn takes his sword and says, "For Frodo," and they just charge, and the two hobbits charge after them, and everyone goes after them. And like, yeah, even if that's what I love, because even if Frodo's dead, we're gonna still fight. We're gonna show them that we're not gonna bow to this asshole, and that's what I love about the final battle, because they really are just going out there to kill Sauron if they can, and if they lose, at least they died with honor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To me, this is why personally, Chad, to me, why I love the battle. This is the final battle more than the Helm's Deep battle, is because as I rewatch it, it's really about the thematic thing going on. Like, okay, we're basically fucked because Sauron basically said we killed Frodo. So are we gonna bow to this guy or no? And like, even if they lost, they fought.
Well, Gandalf even said it earlier when they were debating what they were going to do next. Gandalf was like, if Sauron had the ring by now, we'd know it. So it's like, that's always their big tell, though, is if the eye is still above the tower, the ring is still out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they'd had it, they would have brought it right to him already.
Exactly. And but like, again, the mouth of Sauron says like, we killed Frodo. So basically, maybe even if the ring, like, so basically in their mindset it was, okay, Frodo's fucked, he's dead, probably Sam is too, and Gandalf says Sauron, the Eye of Sauron is still there, so the ring is probably like on the floor somewhere, and the orcs haven't picked it up, or like Frodo in his last moments of breath hid the ring so that the orcs couldn't find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's only a matter of time until they do find it. So basically, the analogy I got was basically, personally, this is basically the end of Deathly Hallows Part 2 where Harry's dead and Neville says, "We're not gonna fucking bow to you, Voldemort. We're gonna still fight." You know, that's basically what Aragorn is doing here.
There are so many similarities between this movie and Deathly Hallows. Like I found myself doing that so many times. Like while I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, that reminds me of this part of the book," or something like that. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically like they're not gonna. That's why I love this more than House Deep Battle. It's because they're basically not gonna bow down to Sauron's tyranny and going to fight with all they can.
I
Right?
agree.
All right. So like while they're kicking ass, we're gonna go back to like the heart of this movie. Frodo and Sam are right there. They're at the precipice. They're all they have to do is drop the ring, and that's it. Game over for Sauron. But of course, the ring at its most vulnerable shows exactly how powerful it is. And Frodo says, "The ring is mine." Takes off the ring and puts it on. And like, oh, no joke. In that moment, I literally screamed at the TV, like, "What the fuck?" Because that was suddenly like such a like, "Oh, dude, why did you do that?" That was such a yeah.
And suddenly it's like you just see it. The eye suddenly that's been looking at the gate suddenly looks at the volcano. All the remaining ring wraiths that are fighting the eagles suddenly start taking off for the mountain. And just everyone on the ground, like Gandalf, Aragorn, they're like, oh shit. They're like, it's something just went wrong. Like obviously they don't know what it was, but they were like, Sauron found the ring. Somebody just put it on.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like Sauron found the ring. Someone just put on like, oh shit. There's literally like about like I'd say 2 minutes before, or even less because they're on dragons to for Sauron to get the ring. So like I can't believe I'm saying this, but luckily Gollum showed up. Gollum showed
Yeah.
up.
If it hadn't been for him, Frodo would have gotten away, and the ring wraiths would have got him.
Yeah. So like Gollum like grabs Frodo, bites off his finger, takes the ring, and the ring falls and gets disintegrated. And then you can, I love that big CGI explosion where like Sauron's eye just like it's like, oh, I'm dying, and he just blows up, and all the orcs just get killed, and they win. And again, Gandalf and Aragorn and company are rewarded for their faith because Frodo did it.
Well, before we get there, I love that scene, don't forget, but where it's like, oh, they're all celebrating, like the orcs are going down, and then that's when the volcano erupts, and they're just like,
Oh yeah,
oh shit, Sam and Frodo are in there.
Yeah.
And then it's like that, it's that scene where it's like, you think they're gonna die. It's like they've basically just been like, that's okay, we did what we were supposed to do, we delivered the ring, and we're getting surrounded by lava. That's this is where our journey ends. And then the eagles show up, and then we get I don't know, number 2 of out of how many billion endings this movie suddenly has.
All right. So basically, the Eagles show up. They grab Sam and Frodo, and this is where a lot of people are divided. This is what we call like the Lord Return of the King ending syndrome, where there's like just way too many endings. Like it could have ended like of various different ways. But like, what do you think of it? Personally, I'm not really bothered by it because like
It doesn't bother me. It's almost more of like a meme at this point to joke about how many endings it has, because it's like there's so many characters, stories that need to be tied up, and there's still so much to do even after the ring gets destroyed. Aragorn getting anointed king, the hobbits going home, the elves continuing their trek to leave Middle Earth, people going back to their everyday lives, what comes next. It was all needed.
it was all needed certainly, and I didn't mind all the long endings. It really was worth it.
There's one moment that I really just want to bring up, and it's when Aragorn has officially been named king, and then the hobbits bowed to him, and then I can't remember if it was
I love
him
that scene.
or Gandalf, where they're like, "No, you bow to no one," and then everyone bows
Yeah.
to Sam, Merry, Pippin, and Frodo. I love that scene. That was so amazing.
Aragorn basically like says like my friends you bow to no one, and they all bow. Like even the elves, even Gandalf bows. Like oh shit, and I love that. I honestly love that sweet moment where Frodo wakes up and sees Gandalf because, again, he never saw Gandalf until after the fall. He never saw Gandalf, and Gandalf was his friend, his mentor. So seeing him there, and they're all laughing like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe
All
you're
of them
alive."
laughing together was such a sweet moment. I love that. That was so like, oh, that was just such a happy ending there. It just warmed my heart.
And then real quick, like honestly, we didn't have time to talk about it, but I loved how basically Legolas and Gimli's friendship flourished in this movie. Like, I love that line that Gimli says where like, I never thought I'd die at the hands of side by side with an elf, that moment made me tear up where Legolas says, "How about dying side by side with a friend?" And then Gimli says, "Yeah, I could do that."
That was like I said back in the Fellowship review. It's the biggest problem I had with that was it was only really addressed right there in the middle of the first movie, and they've been fine ever since. It's like we needed a few more instances of them bickering or not trusting, or Gimli not trusting him or something to have really driven that point home. Because it was like by Two Towers, they were fine with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I wouldn't have minded was getting a little bit more character depth for Gimli and Legolas.
Yeah. They were kind of basically pushed to the side a bit, and I agree with you there. Uh,
Yeah, it would have been cool to get more of like a, I don't know, more depth to both of them. Like, I'm not saying that they didn't have some depth. They were definitely important, and like they were good to have in there. But they could have been more part of it.
yeah, I mean, certainly, of course, I'm not saying they shouldn't have. It's just more of like I don't think there was enough time. And I love the
Yeah,
fact that the hobbits go back and then like and they're like, life is not the same anymore. Like what we did for that entire year, it's not gonna be the same.
yeah,
It was so hard, and like, but I love how Sam gets asks the courage for that girl that he didn't want to ask the courage for in Fellowship. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask.
very.
He gets the courage because like he's done it all, man. He's fought orcs, he's fought a spider, and then I do like how it ends. Frodo leaves the hobbits, and like yeah, for like he's content with like going with Gandalf and going into the next life, which is I'm fine with, man. I have no problems with it at all. And it ends with Sam getting the book of Frodo and then closing the Hobbit door, and that's it.
Frodo saying goodbye to his to Sam, Merry, and Pippin was so sweet. I loved that. That was the hobbits. They're just a bunch of like marshmallows who are like these brave, badass warriors. So that seems like a good description of them, and that's what I like so much. The ending it left you on this like this at peace
Yeah, exactly.
moment of like it's that everything should be good now, and that's what I liked a lot about it.
Really, yeah, and it's true. I did like where it ends, and how about you, Chad? Like overall, like
It's another situation like you have to pick a ending at some point. We can't just keep following them forever, wondering, oh, what comes next. So it's like they could have ended it without Frodo joining the elves, and it still would have been fine. So it's like they just had to pick an ending at some point and roll with it.
Yeah.
yeah. So I like what the last enemy got, where Sam closes the door, and you feel like, oh, it's the closing of a chapter, and
Mm-hmm.
so overall, thoughts on the entire trilogy of Lord of the Rings, Chad and Eric. I mean, like you, Chad, first, who's seen it so many times already. Like, what's your overall thoughts and ranking?
It's always good watching Lord of the Rings again. And the only problem really is the length. I mean, they warrant the length that they have. They needed it. But at the same time, it also kind of takes away from how often I watch these things because it's like I could literally fit in like we probably could have fit in like the entire Friday the 13th franchise in the time it took to watch all three of these movies again. So it's like it comes down to like what I want. Do I want to watch like two short movies or do I want to watch one of these? And like I said, it's like for me with just how busy I am. I don't have time to sit down and watch these whole things all in one go. So it's like for me, it took 2 weeks to watch all of these basically, and same thing with, I mean, obviously the Hobbits aren't as long, but I mean, same thing. Those are at least, 2-nighters a piece. But overall, I mean, just rewatching it reminded me, it just reminds me of how damn good it is, and how like the people out there who don't like it are just like, oh, it's just boring, and it's like,
No, it's not
uh,
boring.
well, go tell them that. It's, yeah, I've gotten to the point I don't even bother arguing with people who make extremely stupid statements like that anymore, because it's like you've made up your mind. This stuff is boring. There's absolutely nothing I can do or say to change it. So forget it. You're stuck with your own thoughts. But it's just full of action, full of character, depth, a nice fantasy world, different than other fantasy worlds we see. While it's like fantasy but grounded in reality, character growth all over the place for just so many different characters, so many twists and turns, deaths you don't see coming, and all wrapping up in a satisfying conclusion. So yeah, it one of the best trilogies out there, hands down. And yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be before I ever watch them again. Probably another 2 or 3 years. But if I had to rank them, for me it's easy. It's 2, 3, 1. It's just, yeah, Two Towers to me, just still, even rewatching it for this, it still stands out to me as my absolute favorite. And Return to the King is literally right there behind it. And Fellowship, I mean, it's the beginning. It's going to be the slowest. That's where the least amount of stuff is going to happen. You can't stick the most action in the first movie and then, let 2 and 3 have less than the first one. Everything has to build. So it makes sense that 1 is the slowest and the least action packed, but 1 is still a damn good movie.
Yeah. I really, really liked this. It was really fun. It was. I knew that when you guys first told me that we were doing Lord of the Rings in September, I was like, oh, finally, I have an excuse to watch. Well, not an excuse, but like, these were movie series that I don't want to say I was avoiding, but I hadn't tackled yet, and so I was really excited, and a lot of Harry Potter fans are also Lord of the Rings fans, so I knew that was going to be that I would enjoy them, and I did. They were great. I loved the character depth that went into it. I loved the effort that they put in for making them like including as much as they could. I so wish they could have done that for the Harry Potter films. They could have made them like more made extended editions. There's so many things, basically like 4 to 7. I wish that they did that for the Harry Potter movies. But it ended well. You got all the character arcs. I really enjoyed it. I think my order would be, it would be, my favorite one was Return of the King, and then the Two Towers, and then Fellowship of the Ring. That's my order, mainly just because the angst builds, you get more character development, and as you guys know, my favorite thing about movies is often the characters. I will love a movie if I love most of the characters, and I do.
Lord of the Rings is one of those franchises where I can never watch in full. If you have seen, if you have read the Silmarillion and the First Age, Second Age books, more power to you. Really, I can never do that. I don't have the time. But to me, it really is a damn good trilogy. It's one of my favorites, and I have said before to you and Erica, Chad, that I prefer fantasy over sci-fi. So yeah, I'm sorry when I say like the this trilogy is better than the OT trilogy of Star Wars. That's just my personal preference.
See,
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
even.
Star Wars is fantasy also, if you stop and think about it.
Yeah, exactly. But like
For
I
me,
prefer.
with things like that, I can't even compare them because they're completely different movies.
Yeah, but exactly. You really can't compare them. I'm just saying, like personally, for me,
You
uh,
enjoy it more than Star Wars.
I always preferred magic and swords and wizards over laser guns and lightsabers. That's just my personal preference. And in any case, I did like I really did like what everything was going on here. It was a perfect trilogy. Yes, there were some slow parts. Yes, there were a bit of a Deus Ex Machina in some areas, but it never was bad. It was never atrocious. It was excellent, and I can honestly see why Return of the King was won for Best Picture at the Oscars.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, completely.
If I had to rank it, I would say Return of the King is my favorite finale that I really love and I will cherish. But in an unpopular opinion, holy shit, like sorry, in an unpopular opinion, I still prefer Death Yellows Part 2 as the better finale than Return of the King. That's just my preference. But
It's because your heart is with Harry Potter. That's definitely
yeah,
part of it.
that's really because of that. But I prefer that. But that doesn't diminish Return of the King in any way whatsoever. Two Towers is a very as I rewatched it. I used to put Fellowship above Two Towers, but now Two Towers is above Fellowship. I did love Two Towers a lot, and it's a very good middle chapter. And the Helm's Deep battle is one of the most iconic battles ever put to film. And of course, Fellowship, the weakest, but while the weakest, still a damn good film, and I did like where the direction they were taking it. So basically, yeah, that's it. Lord of the Rings is done. The trilogy is done, but we're not we're not done with Middle Earth because in 2012, Peter Jackson returned to the Middle Earth saga to do the Hobbit franchise, which really divides a lot of fans, and I really can't wait to see.
I don't get why. I don't understand the people who you and I saw it the other day on that one post. I don't understand this, like the vitrionic hatred some people were giving it.
Yeah,
It's pure comparison, and I can't stand when people do that. Judge it for what it is.
Same.
so well, I can't wait to review the Hobbit trilogy because the Hobbit trilogy it is an underrated trilogy, and I can't wait to cover it. So
Yeah, I'm excited too. I haven't watched them yet. That'll be this week, so I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah, so that's it for today, guys. This is Santino signing off.
I'm Chad. Thanks for listening in.
This is Erica. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you guys. Please subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you think of these movies.
All right. Bye, guys.